The headlines were stark and chilling. Charlie Kirk, a prominent conservative media titan, shot live on stage in front of a stunned audience. The news broke like a thunderclap, sending shockwaves across the nation and instantly dominating every major network and social media feed. The attack, captured in real time on countless cell phones, transformed what was meant to be a spirited political rally into a scene of utter chaos and confusion. Screams echoed, people scrambled for safety, and the sense of security that once defined such gatherings was shattered in an instant. Across living rooms, offices, and public spaces, America watched in horror as the harrowing footage spread. The images ignited a wave of grief, disbelief, and outrage, uniting millions in a moment of collective shock and sorrow. The shooting wasn't just an attack on Charlie Kirk, it was an assault on the very idea of peaceful debate and civil discourse. The stage, once a symbol of free speech, now stood empty and scarred. A haunting reminder of how fragile our democratic traditions can be. Images from Utah Valley University, where the tragedy unfolded, seared themselves into the national memory. The campus, usually a place of learning and open discussion, was now marked by police tape and sorrow. This wasn't some distant or abstract tragedy. It happened in the heart of America, at a university meant to foster ideas, not violence. Students and faculty, once focused on education, now found themselves at the center of a national crisis. The nation was left stunned, with news cycles consumed by urgent questions. How could this happen? Was there a security breach? What failures allowed such violence to erupt in a place meant for dialogue? Who was the attacker? What motivated this act? Why did it happen here, and why now? The search for answers only deepened the sense of unease. Political leaders from all sides condemned the violence, but their words often rang hollow, struggling to bridge the country's deep and growing divide. The attack became a flashpoint in an already polarized nation. For many, the shooting felt like the culmination of years of escalating rhetoric, anger, and polarization. It was as if the nation's divisions had finally boiled over, with tragic consequences. On September 11, 2025, a date already heavy with history and remembrance, America awoke to a new, unsettling reality. Another wound added to the national psyche. Another day marked by tragedy. The shooting forced urgent, uncomfortable questions about the safety of public figures, the vulnerability of our institutions, and the health of our democracy itself. Could such violence become the new normal? As the story continues to unfold, one thing is painfully clear. What happened in Utah will leave a lasting scar, not just on the campus, but on the nation's collective memory and sense of security. Now, the nation faces a reckoning it can no longer ignore. Americans everywhere are left to grapple with difficult questions about violence, division, and the future of civil discourse in a country still reeling from shock. To truly grasp the impact of recent events, it's important to understand the man at the center of it all. You have to know who Charlie Kirk was and why he became such a polarizing figure in American politics. As the founder of Turning Point USA, Kirk didn't just start an organization. He built a powerful conservative youth movement from the ground up, inspiring thousands of young people to get involved in politics. His media savvy, sharp wit, and direct, unapologetic style made him a leading voice for a new generation of conservatives, both online and on college campuses. To his supporters, Kirk was a fearless patriot, unafraid to challenge the status quo and speak out for what he believed in, no matter the backlash. But to his critics, he was deeply divisive and controversial, often accused of stoking outrage and fueling the culture wars. His campus events regularly drew massive crowds, but also sparked fierce protests and heated debates, highlighting the deep divisions in American society. Kirk's influence extended far beyond college campuses, reaching into the highest levels of national politics, where he advised politicians and shaped policy discussions. He played a significant role in shaping the direction of the Republican Party, especially among younger voters and activists. As a key player in the ongoing culture wars, Kirk's actions and words often made headlines, sparking passionate responses from both sides. Love him or loathe him, there's no denying that Kirk's presence defined an era of American politics, leaving a mark that will not soon be forgotten. His sudden violent death has left a void in the political landscape and a legacy that will be debated, analyzed, and remembered for years to come. September 10, 2025. Kirk's live free tour stop at Utah Valley University drew a packed house. The event was energetic, routine, until the Q&A session. Kirk called on a young man with a question about free speech. As Kirk prepared to answer, a gunshot rang out. For a moment, confusion, then panic as Kirk collapsed on stage. Screams erupted, the crowd stampeded for the exits. Security rushed to Kirk, law enforcement moved in, but chaos reigned. The shooter's location was unclear amid the pandemonium. The auditorium became a crime scene in seconds. First responders struggled to reach Kirk through the fleeing crowd. In minutes, a political rally had become a national nightmare. The violence was sudden, public, and devastating. Inside the UCCU Center, chaos was total, but so was courage. Kirk's security team shielded him, scanning for further threats. Paramedics arrived quickly, working desperately to stabilize him. The stage, moments before a platform for ideas, was now a scene of frantic medical effort. Law enforcement locked down the campus, searching for the shooter. Witnesses were ushered out, their accounts confused and terrified. The university became a fortress, the search for the assailant underway. As Kirk was rushed to the hospital, the reality set in. This was no ordinary attack. The investigation had only just begun. Kirk was rushed to Utah Valley Hospital, his condition critical. Paramedics worked frantically as the ambulance sped through the night, sirens echoing in the darkness. The hospital's emergency team was already waiting, prepared for the worst, as the city held its breath. News trickled out slowly. The nation waited, anxious and divided. Families gathered around televisions, radios, and phones, desperate for any update. Outside the hospital, crowds formed, some praying, others simply hoping for a miracle. Social media swirled with rumors, prayers, and speculation. Hashtags trended worldwide as millions shared their fears and memories, while misinformation and unconfirmed reports only heightened the tension. Hours passed with no official word, just hope and dread. The silence from the hospital was deafening, and every minute felt like an eternity for those waiting for news. Finally, after midnight, the hospital spokesperson stepped forward. Cameras flashed and the world seemed to pause, bracing for the news everyone feared. Despite all efforts, Charlie Kirk had died from his wounds. The medical team had done everything possible, but the injuries were simply too severe. The announcement sent shockwaves across the country. In living rooms, on city streets, and across social media, disbelief and sorrow spread instantly. What began as a desperate hope ended in national mourning. Vigils sprang up overnight as people gathered to grieve together, united in their loss. Tributes poured in from all sides, united in condemnation of the violence. Leaders, celebrities, and ordinary citizens alike expressed their sorrow and outrage, calling for peace and justice. Kirk's death was now a political assassination, not just an attack. The implications rippled through the nation's political landscape, raising urgent questions about security and division. September 10, 2025, became a dark day in American history. It would be remembered for years as a moment when the country changed forever. The investigation shifted to a high-profile homicide. Law enforcement agencies mobilized at every level, determined to find answers and bring those responsible to justice. The nation's grief was matched only by its anger and uncertainty. As candles flickered in the night, Americans grappled with loss, fear, and the urgent need for unity in the face of tragedy. Kirk's assassination was the violent climax of years of political hostility. Instantly, blame flew across the spectrum, each side accusing the other of fueling the climate of hate. The tragedy forced a reckoning on campus safety and free speech. Universities now face pressure to balance open debate with security. The attack raised fears of a new era of political instability and violence. Law enforcement noted a rise in threats against public figures, Kirk's murder seen as a grim warning. Calls grew for all sides to tone down rhetoric and reflect on the real-world impact of words. The nation was forced to confront the dangerous intersection of speech and violence. In the aftermath, confusion and misinformation spread rapidly. Authorities have not identified a suspect or motive. The investigation is ongoing. Was this political, personal, or something else? No one knows for sure. Eyewitness accounts conflict, and details remain scarce. Rumors and false reports flooded the media, complicating the search for truth. Officials urge patience and reliance on verified information. The nation waits for answers, desperate to understand why this happened. Kirk's murder will reshape public events in America. Expect tighter security, metal detectors, bag checks, more police. Open Q&A sessions may disappear, replaced by controlled formats. The distance between leaders and the public will grow. Free speech could suffer as fear replaces openness. Media and social platforms face pressure to curb violent rhetoric. Public figures may become more guarded, less accessible. The risk of violence now shadows every public appearance. The challenge: protect safety without silencing debate. America must find a way to secure its discourse without losing its soul. Charlie Kirk's death is a wound on America's democracy. It's a stark reminder of what's at stake when words give way to violence. The nation must ask, how did we get here, and how do we heal? Democracy depends on peaceful debate, not bullets. The reverberations of this tragedy will shape our future. We face a choice: deepen our divisions or recommit to respect and dialogue. The path forward is uncertain, but the need for change is clear. The echo of that shot now tests the character of a nation.